So making a little progress this morning. Got some of the accessories off, got the valve cover off. Everything's super nice and clean there. Basically what I just did was got this motor in top dead center. There's 3 marks here together, and then there's 1 mark by itself that's typically white. Basically what you want to do is line that up with this line right here on the lower timing cover, and then these cam gears here will be in the up position. If those are not in the up position, you just need to rotate the crank around one more time with that 19 millimeter. But we're in top dead center. That's just always a good place to start. I'm going to get these covers off. I think this mount right here maybe also has to change. I'm going to measure the one on my CRV and see. I think those are a little taller or shorter on the JDM versions versus US. I can't remember. We'll measure that. Otherwise, I'm going to keep going along and get these accessories changed out. I'm also going to go ahead and check the valve lashes on each cylinder. That's another reason to start in top dead center. We'll keep going. So this is the moment of truth for a lot of people, is trying to get this crank pulley bolt off. After those things have been on there a while, they can be almost impossible to get loose. I bought this weighted socket. It's just a 19 millimeter, I think those are 19s, that's super chunky. It's very heavy. I bought this off Amazon. It doesn't have a brand name on it, but typically I could put this on my battery powered impact and zip those off pretty easy. So hopefully that's the case again. There it goes. Some guys can spend an entire day just trying to get that thing loose. But when you've got the right tools, it makes all the difference. Well, here's the new water pump. Just kind of checking my parts to make sure everything's right here. It goes like that. Seems to be the right part. Ugh. There it is. Really didn't think there'd be much of anything in there. Guess I should have had this thing under here ready to go anyway, just in case. Antifreeze looks nice and bright and green. I don't typically put any sealant on water pump gaskets. I'm basically just going to snug these down with my drill, and I will come back and torque these to spec. Just barely snug. We're going to be putting a new tensioner on it. I think I even had to order the tensioner bolts separately. Probably a little overkill to get a new tensioner and a brand new bolt, but for only a few bucks, it's cheap insurance. At this point, I think I'm ready to flip the engine upside down, and we're gonna get this oil pan off of here and change this oil pump. I'm gonna go ahead and take the time to clean this oil pan up. It's a little greasy. Now's the easiest time to do it. Use some brake parts cleaner on there, some paper towels. So I had to use a little pry bar to get this loose, but oil pump comes right off. At this point, it's a really good idea to grab a rag, some brake cleaner, just get that surface really nice and clean. There's likely quite a bit of Honda Bond left over on this from the factory. So I'm going to grab a razor blade and try to wipe all of this extra Honda Bond off of here. And being careful not to drop any of that into the engine. Still a good idea not to get any of that foreign matter inside your engine. By the look of all the Honda Bond coming off of this, I would say they put a good little bead all the way around the oil pump. I'm guessing from the factory, so I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. Some people say Permatex RTV is the same thing as Honda Bond. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. I don't care. For a few dollars extra, I'll just buy the Honda Bond. The new factory oil pump does come with a new main seal. What it does not come with is this little O-ring. So, needed to purchase that separately. There's the part number on that if you're needing that. I just picked that up on Amazon. Make sure my O-ring fits, which it does. Apparently I got to puncture that. I'm going to put just a little bit of Honda Bond on this ring, mainly just to make it tacky and make it stick in there so it doesn't fall out while I'm trying to install this. Wipe away all the excess. I'm just going to go through here, put a decent amount all over this gasket mating surface. The important thing is we don't want any of this getting inside the engine, so we'll go back and kind of spread it out with my hand to make sure we don't have too much. We've got to make sure that these indentions on the inside are lined up with the ones on our crank here. Let's try this. There we go. All right. Now I need to look up torque specs on these real quick. Just as a little extra precaution, I know this isn't thread locker, but I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of Honda Bond, just a dab on these bolts, just to make sure nothing's going to come loose on me. Kind of looks to me like they did a little bit of the same thing to these factory bolts from the factory. Move our focus over to the pickup tube. This little paper gasket that goes here. Not a bad idea to pick one of those up. They're pretty cheap. We're going to go ahead and clean that gasket mating surface up on that. Obviously we want to get the old gasket off, get all of these mating surfaces completely clean. It's not necessary, but if you're kind of picky like me, now's a really good time to just clean the whole inside of this pan. What that's going to do is get rid of all that extra crud that's settled over time, and every time you have fresh oil in your engine from here on out, when you check your oil on the dipstick, it's going to be a nice golden clean color if you do this. So this is the new Felpro gasket I'm going to try by another guy on YouTube. He said these ones that end, it's the same part number of all of them, but if it ends in a T, this is supposed to be like the metal reinforced, much better one. It's like a $35 gasket if I remember right. Not cheap, but it comes with these alignment pins, so if you are laying under the car, supposedly you stick these in, it helps you get the pan up in place and holds everything in place for you. I won't need those. Also comes with a little tube of RTV, which is nice, but I'm going to go ahead and use the Honda Bond. Definitely see the reinforced metal in the edges there. There it is. Okay, I think it only fits on that one way. Unfortunately, it did not say how it recommends using sealant, but it came with sealant. I'm assuming that's what they want you to do. I'm going to at least put Honda Bond in the typical spots in these corners where the oil pump and main caps meet. Then I'll go ahead and put it a couple places on my pan where it normally was as well. I just went out with a measuring tape and I've confirmed this mount is way taller on this JDM engine than my CRV that I'm putting it in. From the bottom of this bolt to the top flange on my US CRV is only 2 inches. About there. This one measures right at almost 4 inches. So in that instance, this one is twice as tall, and the engine would sit way too high on this side. I really need to pull my other engine out before I swap these. So in that case, I can go ahead and get my timing belt back on. I'm going to wait to put the timing covers on because I need to swap this out first. There is actually a little arrow right here on the oil pump. This is a Honda OEM Yamada oil pump. Right below the Yamada and Eagle emblem here is actually a little arrow that will correspond to the arrow on the, or the straight line on the timing gear here, to let you know, even with the cover off, that you're still in pretty good shape. It looks like one of my cams has turned a little bit on me. I'm going to be fighting some spring tension here. The timing gear should say up on both. There's also a little line here that will correspond from gear to gear. When those are pointed straight across at each other, should be in pretty good shape as far as time goes there. There are also these little holes up here that go down into the cams that will keep those from turning. If you have a small screwdriver or a punch that will fit down in that hole, that will keep your cam gears lined up and keep you from fighting that. That's pretty good. New factory Honda belt. It was also a factory Honda belt that came off of it. I've made some really good progress today. All the new parts are on the new motor. We've got new timing belt, new water pump, new tensioner. All that stuff is back on the new motor, and all that is ready to go. I just need to pull the other motor out of the CRV to get this bracket, swap that over, then I can get my timing covers back on. I got the big giraffe intake manifold off of here. I've got a mess to clean up here. I've started getting things out of the CRV to get that motor ready to be pulled. And I'm getting completely tired of walking all the way from the house back out here to get tools and everything. But I've actually got most of the engine to tranny mounting bolts out. Obviously the intake, I've got both radiator fans out. The intake manifold is almost loosened. There's just some things I can't get to. I've got power steering pump off. I've got the AC compressor off down there. Cruise control just kind of sitting up out of the way. So really close to having this ready to pull out. So I'm kind of at a stopping point today. I had to stop in time to kind of get cleaned up, have enough time to go pick the kids up from school, and got some family coming to visit from out of town tomorrow. So pretty good progress for one day. Should be getting the motor pulled out anytime now.